What's going on YouTube? Nick here to talk about my Season 5 Cobra Kai predictions. I didn't do a Season 4 review just because I had a lot going on post-holidays and other things to watch and record and just getting back to work and whatnot. So I want to say just for the first and foremost that Season 4 was fantastic. It was my favorite season of Cobra Kai thus far. I think the best one hands down. If you disagree or have any other comments, please let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. And that being said, I think one of the things that Cobra Kai does exceedingly well, and what I think a lot of other IPs could take note of, is how well they've executed proper storytelling and being nostalgic at the same time. Obviously, this entire show is built on nostalgia from the Karate Kid movies, which I grew up watching and was the main reason why I wanted to watch this show to begin with, back when the first season came out on YouTube, when you had to be a YouTube a premium payer or subscriber in order to watch it, unless you used other methods, if you catch my drift. But that being said, I think for the same sake of what they've done since the first season was establish a story. You bring in Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso. Obviously Pat Morita is he's been deceased for quite some time now, but the Miyagi traditions, the Miyagi mindset, the practice of Miyagi-Do has lived on. And again, through the course of 4 seasons now, especially back in the 3rd season when Daniel went to Japan and basically hashed things out with Chosen and learned more that Mr. Miyagi didn't tell him. And I love the sake of even now, decades later, even in the story for Cobra Kai itself, Daniel is still learning things even at the end of season 4 here. He's sort of finally learning to, make peace with his high school rival, with Johnny. So I think at any other current popular show or movie, and that taking into account things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and obviously like Marvel, DC, stuff like that, where there's a lot that's been rehashed and tried to improve upon. But I'm sorry, but I think in terms of paying homage to the original source material of the Karate Kid, while obviously making old fans, longtime fans, feel appreciated. They're establishing this newer content for the younger crowd. Obviously, like the other main protagonists are like these kids that are in high school. So it's not like this really pertains to people who are adults, maybe in their late 20s or 30s or 40s or even beyond that. Like my parents are huge fans of Cobra Kai because they're the ones who brought me into watching the Karate Kid movies. And I feel like the Karate Kid is just one of those movies where if you see it on TV, I just kind of have to watch it. And I think the other great thing going into my predictions here was knowing that Terry Silver was going to be introduced in season 4, and he was a fantastic antagonist. Maybe even more so than John Kreese. So let's talk about a couple things where I think is going to be happening in season 5, or what I think will be happening in season 5. And again, if you agree or disagree, feel free to leave comments below. I'd like to see what other people think about what's going on. I haven't seen too much about what other people are saying, so these are my original ideas and thoughts and processes. So number one, obviously we know that Daniel has asked Chosen to basically make Miyagi, learn a little bit more of offense. And so like the battle between Cobra Kai and Daniel, not even so much Miyagi-Do, is is continuing. I think we're going to see a new dojo come out of Chosen and Daniel, and I do think that Johnny is going to help take part in that. Maybe not at first, but I wonder if eventually he will, or he might not. And I think if he doesn't, it might be a little bit more along the lines of him kind of sitting on the sidelines and watching maybe what Robbie does, because of course at the end of the season we see an emotional moment between father and son, so I wonder if he's just going to take time to try to recoup and recover things and try to find some sort of redemption with Robbie. I don't expect it to go smooth, so I think there's going to be some rough patches between him and Robbie. We don't know if this is going to be the last season. Of course, we didn't know that we were going to get a season 5 until we watched the finale episode of season 4. So I do think that they could continue to push this on a few more seasons, although my one concern and my one hope would be that if they continue to push things past season 5, is that they continue with this plan that they have, this notion of making sure that they abide by this blueprint that they've established. And if they do that, then I think they could go on for a few more seasons. I don't know what a number of seasons would be good for this. I wouldn't say maybe more than 7, or maybe even 6. So, and again, if 5 is the last season, what will I think and predict what'll happen? I do think, or again, my prediction, maybe a bit of a hope would be that we know that Terry Silver is expanding, right? So I think there's going to be a time skip, of course. Within that time skip, we are going to see more Cobra Kais, expand out of the valley, and at that point, there's going to be this essential, army, if you will. And how do you battle an army? Well, you basically have to join forces. So I think you're going to have Daniel and Chosen. I think you're going to have Johnny as well. And additionally, I think Johnny might talk to Daniel about getting Kreese out of jail. And knowing that, I think there might be obviously an attorney being hired, but I think that, knowing that he was framed by Terry, and that Stingray, lied about it when he gave his statement to the police. So I think, Terry Silver could be brought down for that. And I do think that, Robbie, Miguel, and Tori, and Sam will all be friends, or somewhat of friends. At least they'll all be joining up in the same karate team. That's my thought process. Why do I say that? I think Tori is sort of trying to, she didn't want to, and I do think it was an accident of where she, need Sam in the eye, because I think she wanted to do right by Mrs. LaRusso, by Amanda. And because I think Tori is on the right path of her own redemption. And again, we see Mrs. LaRusso see her younger self in Tori. So she's like, my past was messed up, but maybe I could do something for her because she doesn't have a good mother figure. Not that she's trying to be the mother figure, because Amanda already has Sam as a daughter, but I think Amanda is also trying to do something, do right, just kind of be chivalrous, or in a way that, it's just more than a common courtesy thing. This is I'm trying to do a good deed and do right by something I didn't get to do in the past. So I think for the sake of Tori and Sam finally making amends, it's sort of like if Sam sees that Johnny and her father Daniel can do it, then maybe she can do it as well. And then on top of that, if they do it, then maybe Robbie and Miguel can do it. Now, what'll happen between the 4 of them, because they've all been in relationships with each other, I do think that Tori and Robbie will probably stay together, much like I think Miguel and Sam will stay together. Now, again, that could flip-flop, but I think in that sense, it might not work out that well. I think it would create more tension. So I'm gonna go with that. You're gonna get Sam and Miguel. They stay together, and then Robbie and Tori will get / stay together. Now Miguel, where is Miguel? What his whole arc is going to be with his father. I don't think it's going to plan out well. I hope they don't do something like very cliche and trope like that he's some sort of drug lord or cartel. We know that from what his mother said, that from what Carmen said, that he's not a good guy, and that he doesn't even know that Miguel exists. So we already know that there's going to be drama there. Or maybe he's just a nobody and just a regular piece of human garbage. There could be that as well. But there's got to be something else that really, really caused Carmen to move and not tell him that he has a son, that Miguel exists in life. Whether or not Johnny will go to some sort of extreme, we know that he hasn't even told Miguel yet, so Miguel doesn't know, Sam doesn't know that Miguel's gone. So I almost half expect them to really try to take part and try to push things as well. This could also be a way that Robbie sees how Sam is affected and hurt because of what Miguel's done, and so maybe he tries to console her a little bit more, and not to say like he's trying to move in to take Sam back, but more so for the sake of just trying to be a good friend. And that's maybe how, like, hey Miguel, you left me, and while you were gone, Robbie was here to not give up hope that you would come back, sort of thing. So like, and maybe Miguel goes, hey man, thank you for being a good friend to Sam. And again, that sort of helps connect their relationship. And then maybe in that time, Miguel has recuperated physically even more, and again comes back a little bit more refreshed. So and aside from that, I guess it also depends on what the rules will be in some sort of next tournament. Will Terry Silver be brought down? If that's the case, will Cobra Kai cease to exist, sort of thing? Because you also kind of have to imagine that there might be other senseis that he recruits across the board. I think his name was I can't think of the guy's name in Karate Kid Part 3. The guy that Terry Silver hires that Daniel fights in the tournament again. I think his name was Mike. Real hothead guy. I think he's going to come back. I think Terry Silver is going to call him, and I think he is going to be one of the senseis. And because of that, I think that's going to be why Daniel takes notice of it, and I think that's going to also be why Johnny will come back, maybe voluntarily, like I said before, or maybe Daniel asks him to come back, like, hey, we need all the help we can get. You obviously have a great offensive mindset, and I'll teach you more about Miyagi and his teachings and what Chosen does. Johnny will learn more about what Daniel's been through with Chosen in the past as well. So I think in some cases Johnny might have a little bit more respect for Daniel. I think at the end of the day, and by day I mean series, you almost have to expect Johnny and Daniel to really become friends, and that much like Daniel and Chosen have mended things and moved on. He's got to do that with Johnny as well, and I think because of that, again, kids need to look up to adults and see what adults, like their, especially their parental units, are doing. I think because of what Robbie will see, what Sam will see, Tori and Miguel, that they'll learn from Johnny and Daniel. Maybe with the sake of Amanda's motherly wife advice as well, that she'll have a thing and a part to play additionally. As far as Anthony LaRusso goes, I think he'll probably join in karate and stop being a little brat and picking on kids in school and being a bully, because he got his ass handed to in the locker room by Sean at the Valley tournament. So it'll be interesting. I think, again, all the other key characters will continue to grow. Like Eli will get better. Since he's no longer going with Hawk, since he's the recent male champion, and which was, again, one of my favorite parts, to see him really excel and to see his arc go from like point A to point B. Yeah, Dimitri will continue to be good and get the girl of his dreams, and again, Eli and Moon will probably get together and hopefully stay together. So that about does it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below again, about what your predictions are for season 5. And when season 5 comes out, I promise I will do a full review on time, and honestly can't wait to see it. So cheers, everyone.